Rich Ward will be added to the back of this grid. So here we go. On the front row, it's Jack Mitchell and Henry Miles. Row 2 is Luke Hornsby and Alex Abbey Taylor. Third row, Pedro Neto and Sean Brearley. Row 4, Owen Burton and Ben Bennyworth. On the 5th row, Andy Chilton and Jonah Barker. On the 6th row, it's Pete Cohen and Tyler Mays. Row 7, Matt Turner and Slavek Piskots. Row 8 is Nick Divers and Ben Shaw. 9th row is Pete Ellis and Glenn Beard. 10th row is John Maycock and Darryl Lowe. And at the back on row 11 is Steve Billett and our winner from the C final, Rich Ward. So let's get ready for the B final. I suspect that this will be a little bit closer again. And then I think even closer is going to be the A final. It's going to be absolutely crazy, to be honest with you, judging by the talent that we're seeing through to that A final in particular. But remember, a lot of these ones in this B final are probably a little bit frustrated they've not made it through to the A. They'll have felt that they deserve to be up there, but things conspired against them. Take Jack Mitchell on pole position. He actually got 42 points. Whereas to get on the latter couple of rows in the A final was only 45 points. So that's how close it was for him to get through there. Incredibly tough. Starting to get a few messages now. Just suddenly refreshed up. So thank you for that. Nicky Richardson, Martin Joyce. I'm not going to read that. That's just nasty, Nicky Richardson. Is Rich now in the staff cart with which underpants has had all day? So James Pargeter is accusing our winner of that one, Rich Ward, of actually having the staff cart that Dan Underhill had, or underpants as he's called him. Go on, Rich. Says Johnny Goddard. So he's watching from down here and he's going to be in the A final. 360 over the line, Rich. Well done, Rich. So we've had a lot of support there for Rich Ward, and he's got himself through onto this B final. Another 17-minute final, and they're just now making their way round. And as we've seen so far, that they don't hang about. Once they get them round in there to the positions, into the corridors, they get themselves going pretty quickly. So Jack Mitchell is on pole position from Henry Miles. Luke Hornsby, Alex Abbey Taylor's been involved in a lot of good things. Pedro Neto, Sean Brearley. You know, a lot of these drivers have been right up the sharp end on at least one of the heats. So this is going to be mighty interesting. 17 minutes around this Welton Mill. Eyes drawn to the gantry. Green lights come on and off they go. But it looks like our pole man has just managed to make that count. And sure enough, through he goes. It is Jack Mitchell that has the lead there from Henry Miles, and it's I'm just got a bit further back. There is a spinner and a bit of contact that's then suddenly spilled a few others out, but they're all on the circuit, no problem. Up towards Christmas Corner for the first time in this 17-minute race, and are we going to see everybody through? A bit of bumping and boring, a bit of pinching as they exit there, trying to go 3 or 4 abreast. That's not going to work, and sure enough, one of them's now onto the grass, 2 of them onto the grass, 2 on the other side of the circuit on the grass. That was always going to be tight, wasn't it, as they come down to Ashby for the first time. The ones at the front are relieved that they've not been involved in that. Amazingly, none of them got themselves stuck on the grass. We got a spinner on the exit of Ashby, but fortunately kept it on the black stuff, able to keep going. As through comes our lead pack onto the back straight for the first time in this 17-minute race. Just stretching out a little bit. I'm pretty certain that's Jack Mitchell. I'll make sure that I'm right when they come round to complete this opening lap. Oh, and very wide there goes the second place car, which I think was Henry Miles. Not by losing it, just ran it a little bit wide. I think he was trying to take the wide sweeping line, and he just overstepped and got dragged onto the grass, unfortunately. So through goes Jack Mitchell in the lead. Henry Miles in second. Luke Hornsby up into third position. Pedro Neto finds himself up in fourth position. Owen Burton, Andy Chilton, Pete Ellis, Sean Brearley, Pete Cowan and Slavik Piskots in 10th position. I know we had a few people shouting for excuse me, Slavik Piskots, and he sat there in 10th position at the moment. Where did he start? He started in 14th, so good shout, because he is working his way through this field pretty quickly already, so we'll keep an eye on that. Paul Goddard has also messaged saying, "Attaboy, Rich." Thanks for that. Keep your messages coming in. It's good to see you shouting for your favourites. Rich Ward has made it through to this final now. question is, where is he appearing now? I'm suspecting that's him in 22nd at the moment because it says kart 6, because he wouldn't have been entered into this grid because they didn't know who was going to be coming through until we got through to this. So I'm suspecting it's that kart. But Jack Mitchell comfortably in the lead. Someone's recovering from Ashby. That was quite a good throwback round. That was the number 6 kart there. Just checking to see who that was. Oh, that was Rich Ward. Oh, no. So there we go. Rich Ward in kart number 6. Excuse me. As he clearly was frustrated the way he got that back into a straight line again. But through goes Jack Mitchell in the lead from Henry Miles, Luke Hornsby in third, Pedro Neto, Owen Burton. They're all kind of settled into their positions at the moment. But as we see them going through Crook and Fine Lady, I don't think that this is done and dusted just yet. Now, let's have a look lap time-wise. Jack Mitchell is the fastest car out there at the moment, so he's just stretching his legs. 2.652 was the lead over Henry Miles the last time they went through. Henry Miles is in clean air, doesn't need to worry about looking backwards, so could start reeling Jack Mitchell in. But Jack Mitchell is trying to just break any possibility, break the spirit of Henry Miles, or force him into making a mistake by having to push too hard to close it in. They know that the only position that matters in this is first, because it's that carries you through to the A final. It's where they want to be. We've seen it time and time again. It doesn't matter if you start at the back. You can still get yourself through. In a 7-minute heat, starting at the back, you could still find yourself in the top 3 or 4. What about in a 17-minute final? So it is worth getting yourself through if you can. Jack Mitchell's the one that's doing it at the moment, over 2.5 seconds ahead of Henry Miles last time round. But as they come through to complete their third lap, through he goes. There's Jack Mitchell. There goes Henry Miles, just over 3 seconds, so he's stretching his legs a little bit more now. Luke Hornsby comes through in third, Pedro Neto fourth, Owen Burton. Andy Chilton's lost out because he's dropped down from 6th to 9th, pumping up Pete Ellis, Sam Briley, Pete Cohen now. Slavik Piskorts still sat there in 10th at the moment, but is quicker than the karts in front of him, so Slavik could start closing in very soon. I'm pretty certain I remember him being the bright yellow, so I'm guessing it's the one going right just there in the camera shot at the moment. Great job, Ian. He is listening to me, see. I can't abuse him because he does listen, so I've got to be careful. But as they come down towards Ashby, he's got that gaggle of 3 karts fighting amongst themselves. That means that he could make up 2 or 3 positions in the blink of an eye, but it means he's got Tyler Mays right behind him as well. And Tyler Mays is looking up the inside as they head towards Parker, and they're still side by side. Slavik's not going to settle for that, and Slavik's muscled his way to keep that position, but it's allowed the gaggle of 3 cars just ahead to break away. I'm saying this, I'm hoping that I am right that is Slavik I'm talking about. I'm doing it purely from memory of there being yellow overalls, bright yellow overalls, so I'm hoping that I've not got that stupidly wrong and made a fool of myself, but we'll see. New fastest lap of the race for our leader there. Jack Mitchell goes through in a 1:19.494, so he's not settling for it. Change for second position. Apologies, I missed that because Henry Miles has gone tumbling down to 6th position. Sorry, I was so glued to that battle a little bit further back. I missed that Henry Miles has made a bit of a mistake there that's dropped him right down now to 6th position. Luke Hornsby up into 2nd, over 6.5 seconds back, as we see 2 of them fighting there. Now, let me see. Can I work out 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th? That looks like a battling. So Henry Miles and Andy Chilton, I'm assuming, are joined together there, fighting for position, as our leader is already heading into Parker and now Chapman. And there's so much going on through Ashby. It's this gaggle from sort of about 5th backwards is where it's really happening. Well, no, 4th backwards. Owen Burton, Pete Ellis, Henry Miles, Andy Chilton, Sean Brearley, I think, is in there. Look at this, side by side with a sort of a tag. Oh, and we've got 2 of them that had spun in front of them. Now that means they've gone everywhere. That includes Slavik. Oh, and there's some pointing there. Someone's not very happy. And I think he did a hand gesture saying, do you want a cup of coffee? I think that was. I got the coffee beans. That's the signal that I think I saw there. And they're rather frustrated, whatever happened going through Chapman, and I was so busy looking at the footage a little bit further back that I missed it. I know that I saw Slavik taken to the grass. Oh, there's some frustration out there now. Jack Mitchell doesn't care. He's still putting in the new fastest lap of the race again. Luke Hornsby 2nd, Pedro Neto, Owen Burton, Pete Cohen now up to 5th position. 6th is Sean Brearley. Andy Chilton, somehow, with everybody changing around him, is in exactly the same position of 7th. Stephen Billett up to 8th. 9th is Jonah Barker. Down to 10th is Pete Ellis. Henry Miles down to 11th. Slavik Piskort's down to 12th. Darryl Lowe, John Maycock, Alex Abbey Taylor in 15th position. So quite a lot went on there. And it looks like Tyler Mays is the one that lost a whole load of positions there. Still hasn't come through yet. So Tyler Mays was the one that got stuck. Through he goes now. Very unfortunate there. Was stuck on the grass on the exit of Chapman. Meanwhile, where's our leader gone? Let me try and catch up with our leader. Just going through the boot now. I think it is him. Is our leader just coming down towards us here now at Pitts Bend. Leaning out the car. I'm assuming he was still awake. He looks like he was having a bit of a snooze there. His head was at such an angle. Through goes Jack Mitchell. Nice and comfortably in the lead. Not a fastest lap this time, but almost metronomic because he was just less than 2/10 off of his fastest so far. So doing a great job. Luke Hornsby still in second, but that's now nearly 9.5 seconds back. Pedro Neto's not far off though. So we need to keep an eye on that as they're going through Fine Lady up towards Christmas Corner. Second and third. I mean, it doesn't look that close on the circuit at the moment, but certainly time-wise, it's about 1.5 seconds is the gap. So that's not over, although they lapped at virtually identical lap times last time round, so it's not closing or growing at the moment. But the all-important thing is that Jack Mitchell is the one that's out in the lead. Pedro Neto in third, Owen Burton fourth, Pete Cohen still in fifth. Andy Chilton's now up to 6th position. Jonah Barker's jumped up 2 places to 7th. Up 2 is Pete Ellis. Down 1 is Stephen Billett. Sean Brearley's lost 10 places that last time, so Sean Brearley got involved in something. Late entry to this one, and he's had a very mixed sort of up there, then dropping back. It doesn't take much that you suddenly come tearing into one of these corners and you can have a cart broadside. You don't have anywhere to go. You just dip a tyre onto that grass. It's dragging you onto that scenery quicker than you can do anything about it. Leader goes through, still Jack Mitchell. Looks like he's just dropped that down now. He's lapping a second slower than his personal bests. So he's just dropped that down a little bit and getting himself in control. He knows that there's a huge gap. As through goes Luke Hornsby, and the gap is 10.2 seconds. But look at that. That's second and third. That looks closer to me. That is fractionally over a second. Lap time-wise, yes, because there was 0.5 second taken out of the second place Luke Hornsby by Pedro Neto. So keep an eye on Pedro Neto. He is destined to make a challenge for that second position. But what is going to happen when Luke Hornsby realises that? Is he going to be able to answer? They're coming down towards Ashby as we speak. Always looks like they're aiming themselves at the grass there, but it's just quite tricky to interpret that. A leader's already on to the back straight as the second and third battle is going into Parker, down towards Chapman. So that section that it looks as though the second place, Luke Hornsby, is just able to stretch out ever so slightly. But then clearly there's other parts of the circuit that all of a sudden Pedro Neto is able to close back in again as they head into the boot. That's their second and third. And that actually is fourth. Owen Burton's right there with them as well, isn't he? Jack Mitchell's already gone through, so that's 8 laps completed. 6.25 minutes remaining in this B final. And it's Luke Hornsby, Pedro Neto. That gap now is definitely getting smaller. That's another 2/10 taken out of Luke Hornsby by Pedro Neto. Owen Burton just there, sort of in striking distance should they start getting a bit too close and personal. Up towards Christmas Corner they go, as our leader is already down to Ashby. These two is where the action really is at, as they go through the left-hand kink heading towards the right-hander of Inkermans. Through Inkermans they go, down the hill, plunging down towards Ashby, getting on the brakes, trying to make sure they can stop in plenty of time, not getting anywhere near that mud bath on the exit. There's been that many of them going off there. Now they head their way up towards the left-hander of Parker. Just closing up under braking there. That was a good close up there by Pedro Neto. Pedro Neto's getting closer, and again, as they go through the left-hander of Chapman, you can see that Pedro Neto is just trying to find a way to reel him in. It almost looked like he shook his head then as he went down the back straight opposite me, as if he's there going, I can't quite get close enough, but look at this through the boot. He certainly has now. Pedro Neto is just reeling him in. Through goes our leader, Jack Mitchell. sat there still a second off his pace, so he's now metronomically going slower. But look at this, second and third, they're basically towing each other as they go across the line. We don't even need to bother about what the time difference between the two of them. Oh, and I thought there's going to be a little bit of contact there. There is. And through goes Pedro Neto, but he's going to now go wide. Switcheroo there by Luke Hornsby, but he's not able to quite get himself back into position there. And it looks like Pedro Neto's got that signed, sealed and delivered as they go up to Christmas Corner for the 10th time. Remember, we achieved 13 laps in the C final, so at worst we're going to get 13. Are we going to potentially see 14? I didn't clock how close it was. As the and we've got someone running wide at Ashby there. That's Pedro Neto. That was Pedro Neto, had just made the move up into second position, and he's now gone wide down into that tricky Ashby. He'd done all the hard work, and he's now found himself in the scenery. And a wry smile for Luke Hornsby, I suspect, is going along the back straight now as he's back up into that second position. That is going to move Owen Burton up to third because he was close enough anyway. So through goes our leader, Jack Mitchell, still comfortably out. 10 laps completed. In the zone of 120.4. Always impresses me when a driver can be that metronomic on the same pace. Through goes Luke Hornsby in second. Third now Owen Burton, as we suspected. Now it's Pete Cowan. And Andy Chilton, Jonah Barker. So we're still waiting for Pedro Neto to make it through. There he comes through in 7th. He lost 4 places coming down to that tricky Ashby hairpin. He's going to be absolutely furious. There he is heading up towards Christmas Corner, totally dejected. He'd done a great job to reel in Luke Hornsby, a great job to get past him. And I'd have liked to have seen whether Luke could have got back, but now Luke's just sat there comfortably thinking, done that. The bad news for him, I think he just looked back then, and he'll have seen Owen Burton, cart number 7, closing in on him as well. Owen Burton can sniff that second position. Now, he was 2 seconds quicker than him on that last lap. Goodness me, that's a big gap. 2.5 minutes left in this 17-minute race. And someone else has gone very wide at Ashby there. I didn't quite clock who that was. Jack Mitchell goes through to complete his 11th lap. So, we might sneak in 14 laps for this one, potentially. As we've still got just over 2 minutes remaining yet. So, Jack Mitchell still comfortably in that lead. Luke Hornsby in second position, 14.5 seconds behind. And it's only 0.6 the gap between Luke Hornsby and Owen Burton. So he's not going to be able to relax. Look at them going up towards Christmas Corner. That's second and third. So Luke Hornsby's going to have a deja vu just with a different kart this time. Is that he's got someone challenging him. As the leader is already making his way through the left-hander of Parker. That's how comfortable the lead is, as the others are just making their way down towards Ashby. Now, I'm sure that Luke is going to take it steady. Having watched Pedro make that mistake down into Ashby, he's going to want to go make sure he doesn't end up in the same scenario. He's got himself in second. There's nothing that he can do about our leader. Jack Mitchell has just cantered off into the distance. No one's got an answer. Same as we saw in the C final, there's just nothing that they can do. Quickly report on our winner of the C final that Rich Ward is running in 21st. We saw him have the off onto the grass, and I'm sure he's just been playing frustration ever since then. Another kart that people have been talking about, Slavik Piskortsi, sat down in 11th at the moment. Tyler Mays down in 19th. Just had J. Elliott Purdy. Obviously, he's been having a fabulous time here. Kart number 1 looks hooked up. I think that means he's hoping that he's going to have that kart. Last lap board is out, so Jack Mitchell is on to his final lap. It is only going to be the 13 laps. It was going to be touch and go, but it is 13 laps that we're going to get here. Through goes Luke Hornsby, Owen Burton, Pete Gowan, Jonah Barker, Pedro Neto, Henry Miles, Pete Ellis, Alex Abbey Taylor, Slavak Piskortsi in 10th position. So all sorts of changes happening there as well, wasn't it? Henry Miles moved up 1 position. Slavik Piskortsi moved up 1 position. So there's still plenty to be done yet, amazingly. Right, where is our leader? On the back straight now he goes. up in towards the boot for the final time. Just leaning the cart out there, making sure it feels totally balanced for him. I say that I'd be doing that, but just because I haven't got the strength to keep myself in the seat, I reckon. He's coming down towards the pits bend for the final time. Onto the start-finish straight he comes. And it's not punching the air. He's basically putting his hands up in the air going da-da-da-da. That's about all, the only way I can explain that. But he's comfortably through for that victory. Very relieved. He makes it through to the A final. And we wait to see who's going to come through. It is Luke Hornsby in second, Owen Burton in third, not far behind him. Pete Cowan in fourth, not far behind him in the end either. Then, assuming it's not changed, Jonah Barku, Pedro Neto is going to be so frustrated having got that second position. He comes through in sixth position. Henry Miles in seventh, Pete Ellis in eighth. Ninth is John Maycock. Slavek Piskorts rounds out our top 10. I'm going to take a quick moment. I'm going to quickly run down to the gents. So in the meantime, we're going to throw through to a couple of videos, and I'll be back live as soon as I've managed to relieve the pressure and tension to see us into and through the climactic A final for PLD 2017.
The Institute of Cancer Research has as part of its mission to educate and train the leaders of the next generation of cancer research. We combine the academic rigour of a university with state-of-the-art cutting-edge research facilities.
Working in cancer research was something which I always wanted to do. ICR is the best place in the UK to do it. In fact, it's one of the best places in the world to do it.
It is such a world-class institute and with such prestigious research that I really wanted to be part of that.
We recruit students from around the world through a very competitive entry process, and they are then supported through 4 years of research and training. We offer our students a stipend so that our students get a very competitive rate.
The Institute of Cancer Research and the Royal Marsden together form a comprehensive cancer centre which is unique for the country, and if somebody wants to do cancer research, this is the place to be.
I think because it is such a translational institute and all the research is tangible, it definitely inspired me to come here.
We have clinical fellows here and MD Res students, as well as PhD basic science students, and that shows the strong links that we have with the Royal Marsden Hospital.
What I do enjoy is the interaction and the exchange of ideas with fellow scientists. So I bring in the clinical aspect, and what the scientists do, they bring in the basic science perspective. We work closely together to produce better results for our patients.
Within the Institute of Cancer Research, there's definitely an emphasis on sharing knowledge and to share your work. For your PhD project, you want to be proud of that and you want people to know what you're doing and to share that.
For a student, conveying and communicating your science is very, very important. Unless you tell others what you've done, they cannot use it. A computational biologist works with a biologist, a chemist, a clinician.
Physicists, mathematicians, computer scientists.
I can talk to anyone and ask anything in a matter of 5-10 minutes. If you go to a university, departments are more segregated. They are more like a small-scale biotech industry.
There's loads of opportunities to get involved in organising activities and journal clubs and things like that.
Student life in ICR is absolutely brilliant, and this is, I can say that this is my most enjoyable 4 years till now.
We go out together, we socialise together. It's a nice family spirit, really.
If someone was thinking about studying at the ICR, I'd definitely recommend it in terms of its world-leading cutting-edge science, and also the great atmosphere here, and the social side's also really great.
I think it's a very exciting, fun place to work in. There are amazing people and you get amazing opportunities career-wise.